Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we still, trying to stay in accordance with that al-ittiba. So we're gonna touch on a couple of ayats, man, and it was from the Quran, right? Kind of inspired by some conversations that I've been having. But keep in mind that first principle, developing a strong relationship with your Quran. So this is some advice to the Rasul and his wives. So this is kind of a blueprint and somewhat of a foundation for marriage. And for some, this concept is going to sound foreign, but we know that Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So although this command was given to the Rasul specifically as a conversation to have with his wives, and then when you look at how the Rasul taught, this is something, a foundation that also can apply to us. And then a couple of more powerful ayats about for the women, but it applies to us as well. And although it addressed the wives of the Rasul, but this still applies to the Muslim women. And especially when we know to turn towards the pious predecessors, right? The people who was around the Rasul. See, we hear that a lot, but when it comes to the women, who do they know to turn to and go look towards for their ways and behaviors? We know to go look at Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. We know to go look at these people, and the list could go longer. The women know to go look towards the wives, and there's many more women to look towards. They just had to get more familiar with who it is. But this is who they need to look to towards their behavior. So let's look at what Allah Azza wa Jal tell them. And look at this foundation for marriage that's laid down. And this will save a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters some turmoil. Look at this right here. So we're going to use Surah 33, and we're going to start with ayah number 28. Okay? So, O Prophet, say to your wives. Now I'm going to use the clear Quran. Okay? So, y'all can, like I said, y'all can use the noble or whatever. So, same message, just slightly different wording. Right? O Prophet, say to your wives, if you desire the life of this world and its luxuries, then come with me and I'll give you a suitable compensation for divorce. Let me read that again. Allah Azza wa Jal told Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, go and tell your wives, if you desire the life of this world and its luxuries, then come with me and I will give you a suitable compensation for divorce. Divorce them. Divorce them. Okay? And for divorce, and then I'll let you go graciously. This is what Allah Azza wa Jal told the Rasul. How can this be a foundation for our marriage? Because in humanity, period, and sometimes it falls in play in Islam, and with some particular sisters that I see that's Muslim, and they either leave Islam to go after a Kafir man, or they end up with a Kafir man and still try to hold on to their Islam. Not every case, but I'm saying some of the cases I've seen, the people that I spoke to, because they was chasing dunya. Brothers, you can have a woman who interested in you, you like her, you really want to marry her, but her goal, her objective is this dunya and its luxuries. Can you get me jewelry? Can you get me this? Will you get me that? Can you provide that? Can you provide this? Can we go here? Can we go there? Not saying it's wrong to give them those things. Not saying it's wrong to take them those places. But the only reason why they want to marry you is because they desire the dunya and its luxuries, and you appear to be the type of person that could give it to them. Now, if Allah tells the Rasul, tell your wives, if you're this type of woman, why they already married? If this what you want, this what you after, come here and let me compensate you real quick and divorce you and send you on your way graciously, peacefully. Some brothers in situations with sisters that wouldn't even take off a fingernail and put it on his nail to stop him from bleeding. The love for them doesn't go any further than what he can provide as far as dunya. Now, if the Rasul, if Allah is telling the Rasul to divorce them, if that's what they own, and I'm not saying for anybody to divorce their wife if they have a wife that is clear cut that she's only with them because of dunya. You know what I'm saying? She's not here to love you. She's here to be loved and get everything that she can get out of you. You know what I'm saying? Or she's chasing the dunya in her life and you just a tag along. You know what I'm saying? You there to be a personal bodyguard, a court jester, like I said in some other videos. You just there to be a court jester. All this Islam, baby, come on, let's go to this masjid, let's go to Jumu'ah, let's go to these conferences, let's go to these classes. And her mindset is, I ain't going in them places with you, court jester. I'm out here chasing dunya. I'm trying to build up some luxuries, man. you come on, tag along. You better shut up and get the tagging along, court jester. I don't need you. You need me. Allah Azza wa Jal telling the Rasul, man, if this what your wives is on, compensate them, divorce them. You know, a compensation. Give them enough to go ahead and get on their feet away from you. Here go a few shillings. Now beat it. When you're going and looking for marriage, and these sisters, let me read the rest of it. Then he says, but also say, But if you desire Allah and His Messenger and the everlasting home of the hereafter, Jannah, then surely Allah has prepared a great reward for those of you who do good. If you want this deen and what comes with it, you know what I'm saying? Quran, Sunnah, you know what I'm saying? Life that may appear to be basic. It ain't all about the glitz and glams. If Allah wants you to have that, He'll reward it with you. He'll reward it for you. Because like He said, He gonna prepare a great reward for those who do good. If this is what the sister, if she's after more dunya and luxuries of this life than real, pure Islam, brothers don't do it. Brothers don't do it. Because Allah is saying this for a reason. It's going to lead somebody to some misery. And when I tell you, when I see sisters who I've been wakils for and they stepped outside of that, and I understood it, man. I understood why they went after Kafir men. They thought they was going to get some glitz and glams and some different treatment. They want that treatment. They want that luxury. They want them juries. They want money spent on them more than what Islam offered them. They don't want to sit around praying. They don't want to sit around reading books. They don't want to be in the masjid. They don't want to go to the lectures. They want to be at the fancy restaurants. They want to be seen. They want purses and shoes and juries. And they went and chased it from Kafir men, man. And Allah punished them with it, man. They lost their deen, chasing Kafir men, and still never found that happiness. They still never found it. And that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. And then you had, like I said, you have Muslim women who still had that mindset, and they think that they're going to force it on a good Muslim brother. You a good guy. You love Allah. You ain't going to tell me no. That's because they ain't bumped into the right one. They ain't bumped into the right one. But this is a foundation for marriage. This is a foundation for marriage. Don't be marrying a woman that is more important to her what type of dunya and luxuries you can give her, as opposed to the Islam, the Quran and Sunnah, and the Islamic life that's supposed to be present. Now again, not saying y'all can't have a good life and travel and you can give her nice things. Not saying that's haram. You can do it, but if she's only married to you and with you for those things, you ain't got no wife, brother. You ain't got no wife, brother. You cohabitating with somebody whose lifestyle that you're sponsoring, B. And you know, like I say, I'm not saying that to be judgmental towards the women, because some of them been through so much, and when they can finally get that type of person, man, they gonna milk it. All they know is that type of life. But Allah Azza wa Jal say, hey man, if that's what they own, politely give them a few shillings and tell them to kick rocks. Tell them to kick rocks. This is Allah. This is Allah. And this applies to all of us. But look what else it says. O wives of the Prophet, if any of you were to commit a blatant misconduct, now this is for the wives though, right, of the Prophet, the punishment for y'all will be double. But as a Muslim woman, and you're not the wife of a prophet, but you married to a Muslim man, and you commit a blatant misconduct, you're doing this on purpose, the punishment might not be double for you, but there's going to be a punishment for you. And see, sometimes people will justify the wrong that they did to somebody else because they feel like some wrong may have been done to them, but they may have not really been done wrong. This is the foundation, man. And it's easy for Allah to double the punishment for you. And whoever of you is who devoutly obeys Allah and His Messenger and does good, then Allah will grant them with double the reward. So we can't say for us and our wives that their reward will be double in the way that they was, but you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. Marrying for luxuries and dunya as opposed to Quran and Sunnah, trust and believe, that's going to lead to some punishment down the line. And then the latter is only going to lead to rewards in this life and the next. Right? We will grant them double reward, and we have prepared for those sisters an honorable provision. Coming into number 32. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like any other women. So have taqwa of Allah. Now, although this is for the wives of the Prophet, but this is also for the Muslim women. The Muslim sisters are not like any other women, man. They not supposed to be. They not supposed to be, man. Islam is supposed to change that. Brothers, if you got a wife, man, that's trying to be like everybody else out here, these women out here, and this and that, you're going to need to be leery, baby. You're going to need to be leery. Because look what else it says, right? Have taqwa of Allah. And don't be overly effeminate in your speech when you're talking to men. Trying to sound sexy and cute. Don't be trying to be overly sexy and cute when you're talking to men. Okay? Or those with a sickness in their heart, because they might be tempted to get at you or do something they ain't got no business, like take your body from you. You know, somebody with a sick heart might get tempted to take your body from you. This ain't just for the Rasul wives. The only difference between them and a Muslim sister, if they fall into these things, their punishment is going to be double. Their punishment was going to be double. But you just a regular Muslim sister, there's some punishment behind this. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't know what those punishments is going to look like. That's the scary part. You don't know what the punishment is going to look like. And it's going to happen while you in this life. And then it still could lead to punishment in the next life. You can lose your Jannah. Now what a terrible punishment would that be? To lose Jannah? So look what it say, right? So when you speak to men, speak in a moderate tone. You know what I'm saying? Not all overly sexy, not all overly aggressive with this masculine new stuff that women feel like they got going. You know, like now women cuss like sailors when they talk to men. When you see it all over the internet, or like I see them at work. Because they feel like they have to come off overly aggressive in a wrong type of way. Like they some type of tough person, like they another guy off the street. So that you won't think they soft. Not all women, but particular ones. Particular ones. So don't be like that either. And then it says, settle in your homes. That don't mean don't never leaving the house. But your house should be your rest haven. Settle in your homes. Make your house a place of entertainment where you can entertain yourself, where you can entertain other Muslim sisters, where you ain't got to be all in the clubs, you ain't got to go over here where they drinking and smoking, you ain't got to go here and that. Set your own home up to keep you from being bored. You understand? But this is for brothers too, because we not like any other men, man. You understand? We got standards to hold to also. We should stick out like a sore thumb when we around the kuffar. Even if we not dressed like this, we should stick out like a sore thumb even in our behavior and mannerism. You understand? So then it says, settle in your homes and do not display yourselves as the women did in a day of pre-Islamic ignorance. So that's more than how you dress. It's your whole mannerism. The way you used to carry yourself before you accepted Islam, for those who wasn't born into the deen, the way you used to dress, you know, all these other little things and glitz and glams that you put on to be cute and attractive. Don't be like that no more. In your home, around your husband, you know, like for some of the sisters, man, who like to, you know, when they on their menses and stuff, and I mean, it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of sisters when they on menses, they like to paint their nails and, you know, probably even put a little lipstick on and things and be cute around the house because they not making no wudu and different things like that, and it's for their husband. You know, of course, some people gonna say you shouldn't do it, but you know, you in your home. You're not going outside like that. And if your husband don't have a problem with it, you know, you got you some nice little nails and pretty finger colors all on it and all that. If your husband don't have a problem with it, you know, so be it. But going outside and, you know, throwing some jeans on that you got to jump in like this because they so snug and all your body parts and cleavage and all that showing. Although it's speaking specifically to the wives, but this applies to all Muslim women. That mannerism, being around men, fake laughing at jokes and touching their shoulder and chest, and all that. Nah, man. All that mannerism and ways that you have, man, don't go. Settle in your homes, okay? And do not display yourselves in that type of manner like you did before you accepted Islam. Establish prayer, pay arm tax, and obey Allah and His message. Because Allah only intends to keep the causes of evil away from you and to purify you completely. Now, you look at any Muslim sister, once they start to avoid these rules and regulations, I guarantee you they fall into some things that they shouldn't. I guarantee you that they fall into some things that they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And for the Muslim brothers, this stuff applies to us too. You're not supposed to be carrying yourself the way that you was before you accepted Islam. You know, just like us in Illinois, because I use gang culture a lot because Illinois is gang culture. You see Muslims running around here 60 years old, still with their hat, because we do the hats to the left, hat to the right, you know, coming in the masjid with gang signs and colors all on your shoes. You got big gang symbols and stuff drew all on your shoes. In the masjid. You're not supposed to display yourself like that. You're not supposed to be that. When people understand al-ittibah and you stick to the rules and the regulations of Quran, and then that hikmah, the wisdom that the Rasul bestowed up on us and how to implement the Quran in the form of the Sunnah, which is written down in authentic hadith? That ain't how you supposed to carry yourself. We work, take your butt home, make your home a place of entertainment. And then there's some Muslim brothers who home is a place for some halal entertainment. You can play some cards, you can play some dominoes, you can put a pool table in your house, y'all can shoot some pool. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to go to the pool hall and be around half-naked women trying to get chose. You know what I'm saying? Trying to catch them a baller because they still chasing the dunya and its luxuries. Out there getting tempted. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. This stuff applies to us too, because just like they not like any other women, the Muslim sisters, we not like any other men, man. We not like any other men. And the same thing for some of these brothers, man, get to trying to marry sisters because they got a bag. They chasing dunya and luxuries through some sisters. I done sat down personally with some brothers and said, boy, if that woman worked at Popeyes, you wouldn't marry her. You wouldn't be married to her if she worked at Popeyes. You the gold digger. You trying to come up off the woman, man. You ain't chasing no Quran and Sunnah with her. You're not chasing Jannah with her. You're chasing dunya and the luxuries of this life, man. Huh? Even if she's Muslim. Even if she's non-Muslim, man. Y'all chasing that dunya, man. That ain't the foundation for marriage, man. And I guarantee you, when you see these type of brothers on the same things, they slip and fall into stuff they ain't got no business, just like the sisters do, man. You got to protect your Islam, man. You got to protect your Islam. And this is the importance of understanding al-ittiba, man. You got to have a strong relationship with your Quran. You need to be able to read your Quran and see everything that I'm explaining. Now, I done read tafsirs and been in certain classes, so I can explain it a little different without saying tafsir this said this and this and Sheikh such and such said that. I'm just giving y'all what's to it. Not a brother, look at this, none of this apply to him. He can run around still dressed like the kuffar in the worst way. Wife beater, basketball shorts that don't come past his knees. You know what I'm saying? Flip flops with no socks on, toes all out. You know, but anyway, to each their own. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't supposed to display yourself like that. Hat all to the left or to the right. You know what I'm saying? 40 years old, 50 years old, walking all up into the store or somewhere, seeing one of your own gang buddies, and then they might be Muslim too, y'all. What's up, G? What's up, Lord? All that weird stuff, man. All that's supposed to disappear for you, just like it's supposed to disappear for the sisters, man. Just like it's supposed to disappear for the sisters, man. But so I just wanted to go through that, man, to show the foundations, a strong foundation for marriage. If it ain't about Quran and Sunnah and this Islamic lifestyle, tell them to kick rocks. Sister, tell him to kick rocks. If he after you because you got a bag, he don't care about no Islam. You want to go to classes, he don't. You want to catch the lectures, he don't. Nah, we want to go over there to where they drinking champagne and smoking cigar. Take me to the extravaganza ball. Sister sitting up taking brothers to an extravaganza ball where they smoking big cigars and sipping champagne. When the marriage is based off of Quran and Sunnah and not all of that, It's a beautiful thing. Now, don't get me wrong. That don't mean you can't, go on vacations and have movie nights and, get nice bags and shoes and, watches and all that type of stuff. It don't mean you can't do it. But when you marrying somebody because they have that, or you feel like you could get it from them, you're making a grave mistake. You're making a grave mistake. And then your conduct, you have blatant misconduct with the individual. You ain't doing nothing but opening up the door for Allah Azza wa Jal to get on that rump. You ain't doing nothing but open up the door for Allah Azza wa Jal to cause a divorce between you and that brother. That brother might not divorce you, he might not leave you, but Allah Azza wa Jal might open up the door for it to happen. Allah Azza wa Jal might open up the door for it to happen. And I'm finna close it out on one more ayat, man, because sometimes, man, when you have basira, not saying that I do, but when you have like an Islamic discernment, that insight, sometimes Allah will start to show you certain things, and it start to prepare you for something. So it was a Muslim, man, we was real cool, and we had a misunderstanding, a lapse in communication, and a lapse in communication led to a misunderstanding. We didn't get into it. We didn't get into no argument, but we just kind of stopped talking to each other. And I remember at the time I didn't, but this was about 10 years ago, going on around 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years. Seen each other a couple of times in traffic or whatever, but we didn't even really speak to each other. We didn't say assalamu alaikum or nothing. We just looked at each other, and then it wasn't even a good look, like we just did like this. We just seen each other. You know what I'm saying? But we know that we seen, like, I know they seen me and they know that I seen them. But no salam alaikum, no nothing. As Muslims. So, like I say, 10, 9, years done passed. And I say, man, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, about 2 to 3 months ago, one day I opened up my Facebook Messenger and I see that they on, like, how to show people who's on and they got a little green light, and I was like, why the heck is they Facebook page showing in my Messenger? Like, I ain't never messaged them before. They don't even have my Facebook page. We ain't Facebook friends. So then it dawned on me, like, kind of when our lapse of communication came to a misunderstanding where we stopped talking. I do remember I sent them a message saying, this is my Facebook page, right? My new Facebook page, just in case you ever need me or you need to reach out to me and you need some help with something. Like, if you ever end up in a bad situation, you could get a hold of me. You know what I'm saying? Because, I know the way people switch up numbers. So I did that so that they could get a hold of me. But I didn't remember that I did it because I was trying to figure out why are they in my Messenger? And like I said, we was real cool, man. We was good friends. So after that, and like I said, I didn't like click it and go look at their page to see if it was there. I just synced it. So then the next night, it was there again. So I was like, man, I'm going to bump into them. I'm going to end up bumping into them. So then after that, every day they started popping up in my thing of people you may know. And then it had like, do you want to add them as a friend or remove them out of the thing? So after it kept popping up every day for like a week, I said, man, let me remove it to see if it's going to pop back up. I removed it. Week later, it popped back up again. So I did the same thing. Let it go for a week, pop right back up. I was like, man, that's crazy. Lo and behold, they ended up having to reach out to me, man, about some things, man. You know what I'm saying? The kind of, what was our miscommunication, like what went on. Not no specifics, but when I seen them in that messenger that second night, I said, I'm going to bump into them. Like, Allah is moving them towards me. This is really what I thought. Like Allah moving them towards me. So I really started bracing myself for our contact. Wallahi, I started bracing myself for our contact. And, like I said, man, this was my people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was cool. And when we chopped it up, man, I listened to some of the things that they was talking about, and it made me think of this Quran ayat, man. And I'm going to share it with the people because it also go in with what I just read, and I'm going to close on it because all of us as Muslims, this is something that we need to understand and we need to be careful of. And there's more than one ayat that speaks on it this way, but I chose this one. Surah 64, ayat number 14. O believers, you Muslims, you mu'min, indeed, some of y'all spouses and some of y'all children are enemies to you. You might be married to a woman that's really your enemy. Sister, you might be married to a man that's really your enemy. And you're trying to figure out and do whatever you can to stop y'all from being enemies. Right? They become a fitna for you. They become a test for you. But sometimes these things is, what are you going to choose? You going to choose Allah and His Messenger, Quran and Sunnah? Or you going to choose this foolishness? They becoming a test for you. Allah is using this to punish you. Or to test you, to open your eyes up to where you look yourself in the mirror and say, man, what am I doing? Or for the sisters, look themselves in the mirror and say, what am I doing? Because only Allah Azza wa Jal can change what's in their heart. Now, some of the tafsirs on like how the children could be an enemy for you, not like they dislike you and this and that, and y'all fighting against each other, but some of the things that you might do trying to provide for them or trying to make them happy. Like some people just have a fear of bringing their kids up in Islam the way that they should, so they break the rules and give them a birthday party. They break the rules and send them to school with Easter candy for Easter parties. I don't want my child feeling left out. Buy them costumes for Halloween. Where you putting Allah, you putting Quran and Sunnah on the back burner to cater to your kids when you're the parent. You understand? So it says, man, the person you married to can turn around and be an enemy to you. And then it says, so beware of them. Beware of these situations. Carry yourself in a manner so that Allah don't put you in those situations where you have to deal with this. And if you find yourself in this type of situation, then have some sabr, right? Have some patience, because let me step back to the ayat before it, ayat number 11. No calamity befalls anyone except by the will and the permission of Allah. And whoever has true iman, true faith in Allah, Allah will rightly guide their hearts through adversity. So while you in this situation, while you dealing with this situation, al-ittiba, have a relationship with your Quran and the Sunnah, and stay on your deen to the best of your ability, and Allah will guide you through that adversity. He's going to help you. He's going to help you see your way through it and help you find the way out. Yeah. And as it continues back to the number 14, and it says, but for these spouses who then became an enemy to you, whether it's your wife or sisters, whether it's your husband, but if you pardon and overlook them and their behavior and forgive their faults, then Allah is truly all forgiving. Then Allah is going to do the same thing for you, and Allah is truly the most merciful. And then it says, your wealth and children are only a test. Your wealth, even your poverty, your wealth, your poverty, and your children is only a test. But Allah alone has the greatest reward. So be mindful. Have taqwa of Allah to the best of your ability. Hear, obey, and spend in charity, and that will be best for you. And whoever is saved from the selfishness of their own soul, it is they who will be the truly successful. And that selfishness of people's own soul, chasing that dunya, chasing those luxuries, chasing those glitz and glams, whether they end up with a kafir sister, whether they end up with a kafir dude, for the wrong reasons, and then they neglect their Islam, and then they cater to that more than they cater to their deen, you're going to fall victim to your selfish soul. You might end up in a situation where you're married to your own enemy. So anyway, man, al-ittiba, man, have a relationship with your Quran. Read your Quran and be able to abstract it like this. You can't read no ayahs like this and be like, man, it said right here, we supposed to be Shaka Zulu warriors. No, that ain't what it say. Get a firm relationship with your Quran, man. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. D's, I'm gonna hit you in a second, huh? Nah. Alright. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And inshallah, people can benefit from what I'm saying, and hopefully nobody take it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't the way it is, and this and that. We ain't got time for that, man. We getting back to this Quran and how these things should be implemented. And then, of course, the beauty of it is, if it's in the Quran, there's some wisdom and some hikmah that has been written down in the books of hadith that go with it. And this, I want to end on this for people who saying all you need is the Quran. Right? Hadiths is the Quran. Because they teach you how to live it. Hadiths and Quran is not two separate things. It's not two separate things. So the Hadiths is the Quran in actions. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.